Round number 5 of the NASCAR Canada Series creates a new challenge for teams. For the first time, they'll tackle the tricky 13-turn road course at Calabogie Motorsports Park, just outside the nation's capital. With a tight championship battle, it's an opportunity to gain ground. But if you have a difficult day with a 24-car field, you may create a gap that is too big to overcome. We're set for 50 laps of door-to-door racing. Let's kick it to Tony Novotny to get things started.
Drivers!
Start your engines!
Start your engines!
And the field comes to life here at Calabogie Motorsport Park. Tony and Linda Novotny, the two founders of the NASCAR Series, of which the NASCAR Canada Series was founded. I'm Dave Bradley, joined by 2023 NASCAR Canada Series champion Trayton Lapcevich. And Trayton, it's a brand new track, no notebook for these teams. What do they do coming into this one?
Yeah, Dave, it makes it interesting for sure. You know, a lot of teams try to get in some testing, leading up to the race. Do a couple laps before they got to be here on race weekend. That way they can go back to the shop, get a little notebook started the best they can, and come back with something better. But it's really just practice laps and trying to fine-tune that setup.
Trying to find your group. Two drivers we'll be keeping an eye on have been the topic of conversation throughout the NASCAR Canada Series. They haven't been able to avoid each other. It's Marc-Antoine Cameron and Kevin Lacroix.
Yeah, it makes it really interesting for sure. Obviously, the feud started there at Edmonton with them getting together under caution. The series issued a penalty for Marc-Antoine Cameron. And then the incident at Saskatoon there where Cameron got into Lacroix in the last corner, and NASCAR said, no, not so fast, and awarded the win to Lacroix. So really excited to see what comes of that feud.
As Todd mentioned off the top, it is a big field, 24 entries for today's race, and there's a lot of local faces making their first ever NASCAR Canada Series start.
It's really cool for sure. You know, they're probably feeling some butterflies heading into this race, but you know, they're at a track where most of them have a lot of laps at, so that has to build some confidence. They want to be careful not to disrupt any of the points battles that we got going on, but as the race gets started, they'll find their groove and be just at home.
Right now, you mentioned it, butterflies in their bellies, and this is where they're feeling it. And the pace laps, as you can see, the starting lineup is flashing across the bottom of your screen, and it is one of the larger fields, and this is sort of what we see here this year in the NASCAR Canada Series. The road courses attract a lot of drivers, a lot of new faces, some doing one-offs, some doing multiple offs, and there's a little bit of rust to knock off, too, because we've done a series of ovals, haven't been on a road course since CTMP on the first race of the year.
Absolutely. It's been a couple months now, so these guys had to pull out the road course car out of the garage, and they've had a lot of time to fine-tune on it. So going to be interesting for sure. We got Kevin Lacroix, as we just mentioned there. He's rolling off deep in the field after problems in practice and qualifying, so that's going to be interesting watching him make his way forward.
Transmission issues on the 74, and so that is going to be one of the main stories we'll be following today, but also there will be some strategy at play here today. We mentioned off the top the abrasion of this racing surface, and it is going to affect tires. So when do you stop? Can you make it the entire distance on fuel? Let's go down with Todd.
Guys, I did a lot of surveying up and down pit lane before the start of this race. Strategy, TBD. Depends on the cautions, depends on the tire wear. That's going to be a lot of communication between drivers and crew chiefs. Some want to make sure that they get to halfway, maybe even a little beyond. Others are thinking maybe an early caution, maybe an earlier stop. That's the strategy. We're going to have to wait and see how it plays out over 50 laps.
And that's kind of the fun part. It's that communication between driver and crew chief over the course of the race.
Absolutely. And like touching on strategy, no one knows what's going to happen, as Todd said. It's TBD. At Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, we go there every year, twice a year. So the strategy, everyone kind of has a plan going into what they're going to do. Here, it's an unknown, so we're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, we might see some drivers duck in early. You might see them try and stretch the general tires longer. They do all have another complete set, so 4 spare tires to bolt on here and try and make it to the end. So that shouldn't be a question of whether or not they can make it to the end. They will be able to, but fuel is another option too.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting. The teams have obviously built some data on fuel and what they need to make it to the end. So we'll see. It's different at every track. Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, they hit it early in the race and try and get the fuel over with, kind of similar to GP3R too. So it's going to be really interesting and a lot to play out.
Saw the Jim Bray number 98 of Malcolm Strawn. Remember in race number 1, he was the one who played strategy right and came home on the podium, giving Jim Tim Bray his very first podium in the NASCAR Canada Series. He'll roll off just outside the top 10 after a solid qualifying effort once again in that Ford Mustang.
And Gary Clute in the 59 car, fastest in E3 spark plugs pole qualifying. Really good lap by Gary. They picked up nearly a second and a half from practice to qualifying. So it just goes to show how much these teams are learning. A different track from practice qualifying cooled down a lot, and that really comes into play when you're at these super abrasive tracks. That cooler track tempo really brings speeds a lot quicker.
Another driver who was looking forward to coming here was the 28 Ryan Vargas, because he's been learning tracks every single stop of the 2025 season, and he says, here I'm on a level playing field. Everybody else is learning too.
It's really interesting for sure, and you see the 17 car there, DJ Kennington, his car owner, his boss, and his teammate too. So DJ's coming in tied for the points lead, so that'll make things interesting. DJ, not always a huge fan of the road courses, but like you said, he's got an even playing field just like Vargas.
So you can see these beautiful shots around Calabogie Motorsport Park. It is really a picturesque setting, and it's not a track that typically attracts a spectator event. This is realistically the first spectator event that this place has held, and boy, did people come out in droves.
It's really exciting to see the amount of people that showed up that are interested in the NASCAR Canada Series. So they're going to get a show today. They got 25 of the best drivers in Canada and North America here to put on a show.
We talked a little bit about the surface, but looking at the track map, and now you see a great shot from our drone here, there's not a lot of realistic passing opportunities. I mean, it's NASCAR. There's a passing opportunity at every corner, but like a hard braking zone where you can outbrake somebody and make a pass, there's not a lot of that here.
Yeah, generally on these road courses, you're looking for long straightaways and tight corners, hard braking, as you mentioned, to make those passes. And here we don't have it. It's a lot of momentum, a lot of short shoots. That's going to make it tough. We'll probably see people try and set up passes in that 10, 11, 12, 13 range at the end of the track there, at the end of the lap. And but like you said, once we get late into this race, the gloves come off and it's all out. Anything's a passing.
As we've seen so far in 2025, for sure, anything could happen when the white flag comes out on a NASCAR Canada Series race. But the drivers now filing together 2 by 2. There you see the Autologic number 59 of Gary Clute sitting on pole, and he will have the 27 of Andrew Ranger. There's a good news story here at Calabogie. The GM Paille number 27 of Andrew Ranger really needs a good run here today.
Absolutely, he's looking for it. This is one of the tracks that Andrew obviously had circled at the start of the year to come to, because like you said earlier, it's an even playing field, and Andrew loves these road courses.
Working the way through the final complex of corners, as you can see, that is one of the better opportunities to try and set up a pass as they make their way onto the front straightaway. We're looking for green here for the first ever race at Calabogie Motorsport Park, and we are underway.
27 car got a good jump on that initial start, maybe too good of a jump as they head into turn 1.
Yeah, Ranger's going to lead into turn number 1 on the outside as the field comes through. A lot of them still 2 by 2. Gary Clute's going to slot in behind, but no doubt he's making radio calls back and saying, I thought I was the leader at the line.
Yeah, we see the 74 car, Kevin Lacroix, trying to make as many spots as he can early and get that track position.
Alex Tagliani in that yellow and red St. Hubert sponsored number 80, just ahead of Marc-Antoine Cameron. Cameron comes in as your points leader. Kevin Lacroix just a few points behind, but Lacroix, as we mentioned, has to come up from deep in the pack. And now you see problems for the driver of the 74. Smoke coming from the back end of that race car, and he is well off the pace.
That's never something you want to see. Hopefully they can get him back to the garage and make a quick repair and get back out there. He had that transmission issues yesterday in practice and qualifying, so hopefully nothing terminal for that 74 car.
Yeah, brake issues on the practice day here, and then transmission issues, and Andrew Ranger heads to the pit jumping the start. So this will be his penalty for the driver of the GM Paille number 27, as the drivers just clip the dirt on the exit of the final corner going down the front straightaway. So the lead now handed back to the pole sitter, Gary Clute, but he has Alex Tagliani breathing down the back of his neck. And caution now out on the field for the stricken 74 of Kevin Lacroix. This is heartbreak.
That's right, guys. Andrew Ranger jumped the start. He crossed the starting line before the pole sitter Gary Clute. That's the reason for the drive-through penalty from NASCAR officials.
Thanks very much, Todd, and that's just what we thought. The 27, a pass-through penalty for jumping the start, so now he's got his work cut out for him here today.
Yeah, it definitely sets you in a hole early, and as we mentioned earlier in the show, this is a track that's really abrasive on the tires, so maybe that 27 can play some strategy to get back up there as well.
Under caution for the cleanup for the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. So we'll take this pause, an opportunity to take a quick break. We'll be right back with the NASCAR Canada Series. And welcome back to race number 5 of the 2025 NASCAR Canada Series, the Calabogie 150, the Clash of the Titans on Rev TV. I'm Dave Bradley. Joined with me is Trayton Lapcevich. Under caution early on for a driver who was off the pace but very much in the mix in points. He's down pit lane. Let's go to Todd with the first Pinty's pit report. Todd?
The team is not sure exactly what the problem is. They've got it up on jack stands. They're going to check the drive line, check the transmission, check and see if it's motor related, but no power for Kevin Lacroix. And it looks like his day is going to be done early. This is a huge impact in the championship points.
Well, you said it, Todd. And Kevin Lacroix came into this one just 1 point back of Marc-Antoine Cameron in that championship battle.
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure, and not a whole lot of movement there by the crew, so you'd have to think it's terminal, and unfortunately going to end it today.
But this is one of the pitfalls of a race like this, where you have 24 entries. A bad day is a very bad day, and that's exactly what we're seeing with the 74.
That's a great point, and it makes it harder to make it up the rest of the year as well, because we haven't been getting the greatest car counts on the ovals. It makes it a tough one, but Kevin's got GP3R to look forward to, the second Canadian Tire Motorsport Park race to look forward to, where there's these big car counts, and he can really get a good finish.
Potentially over 30 entries for the Grand Prix Tour d'Hiver, so there's a good opportunity to make up some ground in the points chase for the driver from Saint Eustache, Quebec, but it looks like he'll be hanging up his helmet early from this one. It is still Gary Clute who sat on pole in the Autologic number 59 as the field will double up. You'll have Alex Tagliani on the outside, and what's interesting here is that the last corner is a left-hander and corner number 1 is a right-hander. So the pole sitter is actually on the outside of the final corner. So it almost gives the opportunity for the driver sitting in second coming to a restart. We'll see how this one plays out as the field bunches up very, very tightly. A slow pace from your pace setter, Gary Clute out of Halton Hills, Ontario. Remember, he came home second in the opening race of the year, leading into the final moments of that race. As a matter of fact, on the last lap passed after a bump from the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron into the Pinty's restart zone, and we are back underway. And let's head back down pit side.
Kevin, it's been a hard day and a hard weekend for your whole team. Any indication of what the issue was here?
Well, it's definitely the engine, but it's hard to find what's the link behind that, because transmission yesterday and engine today, and there's no link in between the two, so it's really tough to take that.
Frustrating day, big hit in the points too.
Yeah, it always seems to happen on the big weekdays, big field, so big loss of points.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Not even in the car long enough to break a sweat for Kevin Lacroix, unfortunate.
No, not at all. We got a good battle here with the 18 and the 59 of Gary Clute as Alex Tagliani takes the lead for the first time today.
Slips by, and it looks like Clute is also going to lose his spot to the number 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron, so put the GM Paillet Chevrolet up into second spot. So a pair of Chevrolets ahead of the Dodge of Gary Clute. You see that bright blue number 3. That is a driver by the name of Connor Bell, a teenager making his very first NASCAR Canada Series start in a car made famous by Jason Hathaway.
Absolutely, that's a great point there. It's definitely interesting to see Connor Bell out here. He was fastest in final practice yesterday, so that 3 car's definitely got some speed. He's a driver that has a lot of experience here at Calabogie in different types of cars. So he might have a little hand up on the competition coming to a track that he's familiar with. So looking for a great run for the 3 car today.
See a good battle deeper in the field. That's the 14 of Jeff Johnson out of Midhurst, Ontario. He too is making his very first start in the NASCAR Canada Series. A couple of these drivers are names synonymous with road course racing, making their first start. Ron Tomlinson in the field in the 48, a car prepared by Tooth Autosport. So Tooth Autosport fields cars in prototypes, everything down to Miata Cup, and now they're making their first foray into the NASCAR Canada Series, which is pretty cool to see. A little bit of excitement behind the series.
Yeah, and hopefully today goes well for him. We'll see him at more events in the future too, so always great to see new cars coming out to the NASCAR Canada Series, and this is a great opportunity to do it.
Yeah, you're mixing it up with the veterans like Alex Tagliani, the Saint-Hubert number 80, ahead of the 96 two-time series champion Marc-Antoine Cameron. Gary Clute dropped back just a little bit. And there is that battle between Dominic Scrivo and the 14 of Johnson. And back up at the front. Not too much separating the top 2, and they're able to open up a bit of a gap, so they're pushing hard in the early going.
Yeah, now you'd have to think that maybe that 59 car is playing a little bit of strategy. It's something that we've touched on early on the show here. Notoriously a really abrasive surface here, and that wears down these general tires really quick. So the 59 of Gary Clute may be trying to save a little bit. He's doing a good job of defending that 3rd position, still trying to maintain track position while still saving a little bit of rubber.
He does have his veteran crew chief back with him here today after John Fletcher teamed up with DJ Kennington for a few races on the Western Swing. And now that crew chief back on top of the box of the 59. And no doubt, John Fletcher will be preaching patience. It's a long race. Back off, save your stuff. That's so important.
Yeah, and you see, as the cars work around here, they're not really sliding around a whole lot. So you'd have to think a lot of drivers are trying to save these tires. It's a matter of how slow can you go, right? You don't want to save too much tire and lose a lot of track position. We got a really strong 24 car field here with a lot of good cars. So you put yourself too far deep into the pack, and it becomes difficult to make that up later in the race.
You can see the curbs are very well prepared here. Not all that abrasive, unlike when you go to Circuit iCar, for example. You bounce off the curbs, you risk doing suspension damage to your car. Here you can sort of eat them up and help yourself around the corners, as you see Marc-Antoine Cameron doing exactly that in his chase of Alex Tagliani at the front of the field. Pair of Quebec drivers have opened up a gap as we settle into a flow here in the Calabogie 150, presented by Napa and Mac McKenzie Auto.
That 18 car of Alex Tagliani looking really strong right now. Got Don Thompson Jr. as his crew chief, so that's a really big plus for this team. We saw them really fast at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Unfortunately, issues there at the end of the race leading, so he's definitely looking for an opportunity to bounce back, and today might be the day to do it.
Cameron, your points leader coming into this race, can actually breathe a sigh of relief because his closest challenger, the 74 of Kevin Lacroix, is loading up early. DJ Kennington, though, in the Castrol Edge Dodge, not somebody who is always strong on a road course, but he's always there at the end of a race. Is a smart veteran driver, and again, he comes into this one very much in the mix in the point standings.
Exactly. DJ comes into these races maybe with a little bit of different strategy than the 18 car or the 96. He's focused on making sure that 17 car is going to make all the laps, and he knows by the end of it he's going to work himself into a top 10 position or a top 5 and really maximize his day.
DJ had a good Western Swing. He was 3 points back coming into this event behind that driver, the GM Paye number 96, Marc-Antoine Cameron. Have a look, though, as everybody starts a train behind the Autologic number 59 of Gary Clute, and now Cameron dives it to the inside. He's starting to size up your race leader. Cameron wants a share of the lead, and more importantly, he wants the bonus points that come along with leading a lap.
every point matters when you get to the end of the year, and especially with such a tight points battle that we have here with the top three, Marc-Antoine Cameron, Kevin Lacroix, and DJ Kennington. He's looking for that extra point. If he gets out early enough, he can lead the most laps, which is another point as well.
And through 12 and now to 13, heading back onto the front straightaway. And we talked about this being a brand new circuit, and it looks like Cameron does have a great run. He'll move to the outside of turn number 1. He'll complete that pass even before they get to turn number 1. But when you practice here, when you qualify here, it's not the same as racing. Passing is a little bit easier when you're practicing. When you're racing, it's far more difficult. So now it's a learning process of where am I better, where can I get around?
Absolutely, and it was interesting there. It looked like the 18 almost moved to the side for him. So we can see here the pace is slowing down quite a bit. We're in the 116s, 117 bracket, and we qualified down in the low 114s and 113s. So the guys are definitely trying to save some tire, and that plays into strategy here as well. We mentioned that there's 4 tires sitting in the pits, but maybe they try not to use them. It really depends when these cautions fall.
Yeah, potentially you can save them for a sprint run at the end. You have brand new General tires underneath you, make you feel superhuman for the final set of laps. So again, that strategy remains to be seen of how it's going to play out. But we were talking to some of these crews and drivers who had been doing some testing at this facility, and they said the drop-off was going to be dramatic. It was going to be about 5 or 6 seconds after about 5 laps on this track, and that's exactly what we're seeing here today.
Which is really crazy. For those that don't know, that's a lot of drop-off in a run. Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, you only see about 2 seconds of drop-off, when you have 30, 40 laps on these General tires. So definitely an abrasive surface, and it's going to play a lot into how these drivers really manage the race.
The driver we haven't talked much about is the 39 of Alex Gannett, as he starts to pressure now the youngster in the 3. Connor Bell is just ahead of the BetGRW Chevrolet as the top 2 start to open up a gap, and now it looks like Bell was at least taking a peek to the inside of the 59 of Gary Clute, so he's starting to have some thoughts about getting racy in that EHR number 3.
And that's how it goes. When we get into a little bit of a train here and everyone's trying to save tires, you got a guy pressuring you from behind, maybe gets you a little bit nervous, so then you start pressuring the guy ahead, and that's what leads to incidents. So we'll see here. These guys are keeping it clean so far, and everyone's kind of settling into a rhythm.
With the flow of this track, saving your brakes not necessarily one of the main things you're looking at, not like a track like GP3R where you have to preserve.
Yeah, it's a whole different story here. Some tracks you're more interested in the brakes saving them, and some tracks are the tires. Here, it's the tires. These NASCAR Canada Series cars got outfitted with a different style of brakes last year, so brakes not a huge issue anymore.
Tagliani has dropped way back, though, now that he's been passed by the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. He's fallen back into the clutches of this train, and a big pop from one of the drivers and a cloud of smoke as a mosquito spray job being done here, and that will draw the second caution here at Calabogie Motorsport Park. But some smoke in the forest and a driver stuck. I can't even see who that driver is at this point.
Say 28 of Ryan Vargas.
It is exactly that. You're right. The critical path security number 28 car stopped on the track. Let's head down and chat with Todd.
Jeff, you were super excited to be participating in this event at your home track. Unfortunately, something's put you out. What happened?
Yeah, it looks like we lost an upper rad hose, unfortunately. All in all, the guys worked really hard. I'm proud of the effort. It's just something unfortunate. These things happen, and we'll try again another weekend.
Thanks, Jeff.
It's another driver making his first start of his NASCAR Canada Series career, and it ends a little bit early. You can see the disappointment all over his face. So under caution for what appears to be a blown engine for the critical path security number 28 of Ryan Vargas. Stopped on the racetrack. We'll get that cleaned up. We'll take a quick break. You're watching the NASCAR Canada Series on RevTV. And welcome back to Calabogie Motorsport Park. The cleanup has been completed. The Ryan Vargas machine has been pushed back to the pit area, but during this caution, we did have a couple takers on pit lane. Several drivers coming down to take some fuel, but the 47 of LP Dumoulin taking on 2 tires.
Yeah, the 47 LP Dumoulin, the 3 of Connor Bell and DJ Kennington, might be a little early for tires. The 47 might be playing a little bit strategy, try and get some track position early, and then save those tires when everyone else comes in for theirs.
We should tell you that the 3 of Connor Bell was caught for speeding on pit lane, so the rookie will have to restart at the tail of the field. Not a huge penalty because not everybody came into pit, so he loses only a handful of spots as we come out of the final turn and onto the front straightaway, looking for the Pinty's restart zone. And getting things back underway will be the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. As the green flag waves once again, we're back underway with a little bump of Alex Tagliani back into turn number 1.
The 18 of Alex Tagliani fouls in line really quickly. That's the thing with saving tires. You don't want to be side by side for too long. Speedy dry there, play a little bit of factor as well.
Yeah, especially for the drivers on the outside. Alex Gannett in the 39, battling with the 59 of Gary Clute for third spot. As a matter of fact, Gannett has taken it over in the Bet GRW number 39. So Gannett, who has been showing pretty strongly here in the early going in that Chevrolet, is now sitting nicely inside the top 3 and pressuring the 80 of Alex Tagliani.
And we see the 27 car of Andrew Ranger already back in the top 10 here. He's fighting with Matthew Kingsbury. So that 27 car's got some speed, and he's still got a lot of the race left to make it back up there to the top.
Let's see, drivers still catching a little bit of the outside of this facility. And what a beautiful facility it is. Built in 2006 when it opened here. It was run by Jane Blinn from 2006 to 2024. Sadly, she passed away in 2024. Corey Klinkenberg now runs the operation of this facility. But wow, did they ever roll out the red carpet for the NASCAR Canada Series for this weekend?
Absolutely. Looks like a beautiful track. A lot of elevation, a lot of speed, so it looks really exciting.
Down the straightaway, this is the fastest opportunity for these drivers as they tuck in to try and catch a sniff of a draft. Now, you don't have any hard braking, but you try and keep that momentum up. Here's where you get hard on the brakes, but again, it is still very much a gentle corner. It's not sort of a triangle corner, like a sharp turn where you can outbrake somebody.
Yeah, really tough to set up a pass there just because it's so momentum based and not a whole lot of passing zones in that spot. That's turn 5, 6, 7. Maybe a little bit of better opportunity coming in at 10, 11, 12 at the end of the track here. But right now we're just seeing everyone kind of spread out, settle into a rhythm, save some tires, save some fuel maybe. Really interesting. We didn't see a lot of our front runners come in for fuel. Generally, when there's a race where fuel mileage might be an issue, we see guys get the fuel stop away right when they can make it to the end. So potentially some guys here might not be thinking we need to top up.
A couple cars that look very similar are all over the back of the Autologic number 59 of Gary Clute, and that's Andrew Ranger and Matthew Kingsbury. Those two drivers have cars prepared out of the same shop, and they are doing battle now with the 59 of Gary Clute. And Clute, who started on pole, has slipped back just a little bit, but we suspect he might just be saving his equipment because we know he does have a very, very fast car. But Kingsbury, who had some mechanical difficulties in testing here on the testing day, seems to have that sorted out fairly well in the 9. And Kingsbury's not somebody who's known to be a road course ace in the NASCAR Canada Series.
This is a really good run for the 9 car, Matthew Kingsbury. So that car has shown a lot of speed early as we see him trying to make that pass on the 59 car, Gary Clute. He's got the 27 car in tow. Kind of interesting there. We saw the 27 of Andrew Ranger pressure on him right off the restart, but Andrew kind of just decided to settle in line and follow the 9 for now.
Gannett has backed off in his battle with the Saint-Hubert UPS store number 80 of Alex Tagliani, and Tagliani has to take the award of Marketer of the Year as that car is plastered with sponsorship backing. Tagliani, a popular driver in the pits here in the NASCAR Canada Series, and obviously popular with corporate Canada as well, as he tries to get as much support as he can, and he does a really, really good job. Social media with the fans and just activations all throughout.
Yeah, absolutely. I was teammates with the 18 of Alex Tagliani for a couple of years there, and he's really good with the media, and what a beautiful looking car. So I'm noticing that 18 car looks like it might be a little bit tighter than the cars around him. He's got to slow down for these corners a little more than the 39 car, and that's also how the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron got around him as well. So that's something we'll see develop a little further into the race. It's a little different when you're saving tires, because when it comes time to pick up the pace, it really brings the issues with your car to light.
Kingsbury is not saving tires in that Duraking number 9. He is absolutely crossways in his attempt to get around the 59 of Gary Clute. You saw big black marks laid down on this track as Kingsbury tries to lay all the power down. And now, look, he pinches to the inside. He's found a little bit of concrete. Track limits, what are those? As Kingsbury searches for a way by, dips through the grass at a couple corners, and now onto turn 13. And the front straightaway will be a drag strip into turn number 1. A little bit of bump with the 59 of Clute, and again, as drivers stay straight. But wow, this is definitely rolling up your sleeves in the early going.
Man, David, it'd be really interesting to see if NASCAR doesn't penalize the 9 of Matthew Kingsbury for that. It's interesting. We don't go to any other tracks where track limits is potentially even a question, so this might be a new situation here.
There you can see another bunch of cars as they slot in behind Kingsbury, Clute, Andrew Ranger. There's the Curb Records number 98 of Malcolm Strawn in that battle as well. And now Ranger will slide inside of Clute. Might have been some contact there as well. And at the tail of that field is the 88, the rookie Simon Charbonneau's. Having a pretty good run, just limited starts here in the NASCAR Canada Series.
You'll notice these guys are starting to slide around a lot more than they were at the start of the race already. So you'd have to think that, maybe the wick's turning up a bit. We don't have any guaranteed cautions, so this field's getting a little bit spread out. Might having guys get a little bit worried about their position on the track. Kingsbury
has found something there, and he is going to use it every single lap. He said, wait a second, this seems to be the fast way around. So he dips back onto that concrete as he tries to open up a little bit of a gap now on the GM Paille number 27 of Andrew Ranger. We should remind you the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron is still out in front in the other GM Paille backed entry, ahead of the 80 of Alex Tagliani and the 39 of Alex Gannett. That is your top 3 as they run right now. Remember some of those drivers that came through and went down pit lane. A lot of them deciding to take just fuel. We know the WeatherTech.ca Dodge of LP Dumoulin did come through to take 2 tires. So the way NASCAR has the ruling is you can take 2 tires per stop, correct? Yeah, so you can take 2 tires every time you come down pit road. So what a lot of guys will try and do is they'll try and take 2 tires the first time they come down pit road, come around again into pit road and take the other 2 just so they can have 4 tires. It doesn't seem like the 47 of LP Dumoulin might have had enough laps where pit road was open, because that's the other factor in this as well. NASCAR generally won't open pit road while they're still doing track cleanup or before the lineup is correct. So there was a lot of time there during the caution where they were still cleaning up the track, so probably not a whole lot of opportunities to come down pit road there. Dumoulin is up inside the top 15, running in 13th spot, just ahead of Connor Bell in the 3. Remember, he received a pit road speeding penalty in the Diamond number 3, so he had to restart at the tail end of the field. But again, keeping his nose clean, working his way up through the field. And again, he's just gaining experience with laps. Yeah, Dave, and touching back on the 47 car of LP Dumoulin, I'd have to imagine that he's heavily saving these tires as well, because his plan's probably going to be to jump all these guys, in hopes of another caution, and everyone else comes down pit road to get some tires. Look at this, almost 3 wide now. Tagliani door handle to door handle with the 39 of Alex Gannett. That is a battle for second spot. Gannett's going to be on the outside. Tagliani will hang on to the spot, but will Kingsbury poke a nose into this party? He will not, as they go single file through the next set of turns. Andrew Ranger not far behind. Now Gannett moves to the inside. Not quite as deep into that corner as the number 9 of Matthew Kingsbury. But you're right, the intensity is very much picking up at the front of the field.
Yeah, and the 39 car of Alex Gannett, he was riding behind the 18 of Alex Tagliani for quite a while, and we didn't really see him pressure the 18 car until we saw the 9 car get a little closer, the 27 car, and that's bringing along the 59 of Gary Klutz. So definitely worried to lose too much track position and get too far back in this pack. So he's starting to march forward, and he takes a second spot.
And there you can see the extent of the lead built up by the number 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron over the BetGRW number 39 of Alex Gannett, who does have one win to his credit, and it came on a road course at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. But he's settling into second. He's got a long way to go to make it up to the race leader. Let's head down pit side for a Pinty's Pit Report and bring in our Todd Lewis. Todd?
Absolutely keeping an eye on the 39 of Alex Gannett. He has been on the move. Started in 6th, thought he had a better qualifying effort in him. He was hoping for that one good lap. Any of the practice sessions, he said, I never really got that good qualifying lap. I was hoping to. Didn't quite happen, but he has been steadily moving up the field, currently trying to chase down the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. Alex Gannett, worth watching today.
Very much so. He is very, very quick. And now that he's clear of the 80 of Alex Tagliani, the 27 of Andrew Ranger has come through as well, but those two are now setting stale and trying to catch your race leader. Now it's the balance. How much do you use up to try and catch Marc-Antoine Cameron and close that gap?
Yeah, it really seems like the cars are settling into a rhythm here, and they're starting to string out a little bit. So, as mentioned earlier, there's no guaranteed yellows, so there's no really knowing if we're going to get another caution in this event. So you don't really want to save too much and lose too much time or track position. And Dave, I also mentioned mistakenly, I've been calling the 18 of Alex Tagliani when he's actually the number 80. So too used to Alex being the number 18.
That's true.
So long.
He kept the same paint scheme from the 18 car, of course, running with the 80 of Donald Teege this year. Donald running the ovals and Alex running the road courses in that Saint-Hubert UPS store-backed Chevrolet, and Tagliani still doing very, very well inside the top 5. As you can see the running order across the top of your screen. A couple of drivers we haven't talked about. Larry Jackson in the 84 sitting in 16th spot, and Todd Musker, a driver out of Clayton, Ontario, sitting in 15th spot. So those drivers, again, it's the early going for them. They're sort of hanging around and waiting to see how it shakes out at the end of this race.
Yeah, maybe car not handling just as well as they would like it to. So keeping a clean nose and just trying to see if they might be able to make some positions to attrition, or potentially we get a late race caution here and some strategy comes into play.
Simon Charbonneau's managed to get around the number 59 of Gary Klutz. Seems to be off the pace, but the 88 has opened a gap now in the Transgestion backed entry, and there is Tagliani with the number 9 of Kingsbury just behind, the 1 of Bergeron, and then the 88 of Simon Charbonneau. So Bergeron, the E-Racer Ford Mustang, is starting to move forward.
Yeah, he's caught up to this pack with the 9 of Matthew Kingsbury and the 80 of Alex Tagliani. And what I noticed about Matthew Kingsbury here, he was really hot on the heels of Alex Gannett and Andrew Ranger, and was ahead of Andrew Ranger for a long time there. So maybe the 9 went a little bit too hard early, and it's starting to hurt him a little bit.
Well, when we saw those black strips of General Tire rubber being laid down behind that 9 car, you have to think it's getting pretty loose at this point. There's not much left. Although he's quite happy running over that concrete patch. No matter how rough it is, it seems to work for him.
Yeah, it's. I'm really surprised they're letting him get away with it. Honestly, it's definitely an advantage there. But hey, if they're gonna let him do it, why not take advantage of it?
Bergeron in the 1, the E-Racer Prolon entry, and again, Bergeron just one start so far in 2025. That came in the season opener at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. He's running this operation out of his own shop. He took it over this year. Formerly owned by Dave Jacobs Racing. Dave Jacobs still hanging around giving some advice and consulting for JP Bergeron, but as he said at CTMP, he says all of this comes out of my own pocket this year.
Yeah, it definitely changes when that's the case, but no, it's definitely very important for him to still have that support of Dave Jacobs coming to the track and helping out where he can. It's good to see him having some good runs.
There is the battle. The Superior Propane number 84 of Larry Jackson, just ahead of the 00 of Todd Musker. And there is an interesting story behind Todd Musker. He's the Clayton Comet. He's from around the corner here at Calabogie Motorsports Park, but he's been racing for years, back in the mini stock days. As a matter of fact, when I was an announcer at Barrie Speedway, I used to come up for invitationals. He raced in the NASCAR Sportsman Series, and then Capital City Speedway, the oval track, closed down. He's been racing here at Calabogie Motorsports Park, and his entry today is 100% local businesses, all Canadian owned, and a lot of it is crowdfunded as well.
That's really cool, and it just goes to show how big this event is here at Calabogie Motorsports Park. So really cool to see Todd get that support and able to make a start with the NASCAR Canada Series.
So there you see the 27 of Andrew Ranger keeping the 39 of Alex Cadet in his sights. That's your lead, though. You don't even need a stopwatch because you can see it on track how big the lead is that Marc-Antoine Cameron has built up. And when you've been in this position, you've built up a lead this big, you're looking in your rearview mirror, do you start to take some laps off and ease off a little bit, or do you keep on a full push because that's your rhythm?
No, you try and maintain. So you're really going off of the information that you're receiving from the crew chief, from the spotter. They're trying to give you lap times of the guy behind, and you're just kind of gauging, how much faster they are, if they're closing in on you or not. This is a really big advantage for Marc-Antoine Cameron because he's built such a gap and presumably not abusing those tires while doing it either. That's just how good this 96 is handling. So, he's at a point where he's really just got to manage, and now we're in the second half of the race, 22 laps to go. So, that 96 is looking good, and I don't know if the 39 will catch him.
There is the Transgestion, number 88 of Simon Charbonneau. The number still in the rear corner of that one. We've got a car around, and it is the Superior Propane, number 84 of Larry Jackson with Rack.ca coming on board this year. And Jackson picking up a new sponsor as well in Best Buy. The 84 sits in the dirt, no caution yet, as we stay green, but that was definitely a little bit of help going around.
Yeah, this will be interesting to see if this brings out a yellow. The 84 is off the racing surface, so they just throw in a local caution. They'll try and see if they can get that 84 machine rolling in hopes that he does, but if not, we might have to bring out a yellow.
Yeah, Jackson just announcing that Best Buy Distributor is coming on board the 84 team for a 2-year agreement, which is helping keep the 84 in the field, and unfortunately sits stopped right now long enough that it will draw another caution here. And the Calabogie 150, the clash of the Titans as it was built up coming into this event, but it's been all Marc-Antoine Cameron.
Absolutely, but this is where it gets exciting. We're 20 to go. Strategy's going to come into play here. We'll see who comes down pit road, who takes what. We'll see if guys have a chance to get 4 tires or whatnot, and it's going to be a sprint to the end.
So we'll see how that strategy will play out. We'll take a quick break as the field gets gathered up behind the pace car. You're watching the NASCAR Canada Series on RevTV. And welcome back. We continue under caution here at Calabogie Motorsports Park, and it's an opportunity for wholesale pit stops. Let's head down to pit lane with the Pinty's Pit Report. Todd Lewis.
Interesting call by a number of drivers as the rest of the field takes green. They make the dive onto pit road. They're going to swap out 2 tires, complete their service. Does it pay off at the end? Maybe they have the fresher tires in better track position. We'll wait and see.
So an opportunity to grab 2 tires. That'll feel good, just not quite as good as 4.
Yeah, and it's interesting, 20 laps, it seems like it's, a short amount of time, but it's really not at this big road course. And with how much the guys were saying that tires were falling off in the practice and the testing that they did, it might be worth a little to save some, when we go back green here. So it'll be interesting. The guys don't know, will another opportunity come out for a caution? They say cautions breed cautions. We'll see.
So while we have this opportunity, we'll take a quick break. You're watching the NASCAR Canada Series on RevTV. So there you can see the field starting to double up and get organized. The lights off on the pace truck, and it heads down pit lane. We are just struggling to get 2x2 here onto the front straightaway. Brent Weller, who did not stop in that 81, will restart in top spot as they work their way through the Pinty's restart zone. And what a land rush start as we go back to green.
A messy start for sure. Oh, and the 96 is a little sideways.
Contact with Brent Weller. As Weller drops back through the feed, LP Dumoulin and the WeatherTech.ca number 47 will pick up a number of spots on the inside. Boy, that one could have gone badly for a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm not even sure everyone knew they were going green. We weren't quite doubled up. We saw the 80 of Alex Tagliani dip down pit road, so I'm not sure. There might have been a little bit of a miscommunication there. The other interesting thing, we saw the 96 possibly jump out before the start-finish line. That could be a penalty. We'll have to find out here.
I see Weller on the outside. Sam Fellows in the AER number 87 makes his way through. Fellows having a quiet afternoon here today. Something was on the track, and it looks like it may have come off the number 3 of Connor Bell. You saw it skirt off into the grass, so it's now off the racing surface. What it was, we'll never know. But at this point, we're staying under green. Connor Bell in that bright blue number 3. Again, he's had an adventurous day. Driving out of Ottawa, just a teenager for Diamond and East Rock, as well as Pex Marine. A lot of smaller companies coming together to support that effort here today.
That's right. It's been a long day for him, but he finds himself in the top 5 with just over 15 laps to go. So he's put himself in a good position as we see the 39 pressure the 27 car. I have a feeling, Dave, gloves might be off. I don't think we're saving anymore.
Oh, no, I don't think we are at all. And Todd mentioned earlier in the broadcast that the 39 thought he had a very, very good car, and now is the time to start laying down your cards. 16 laps to go as the battle at the front heats up. Andrew Ranger leading the 39 of Alex Gannett and Marc-Antoine Cameron, who had opened up such an enormous lead at that caution period, now relegated back into third spot. Connor Bell, Matthew Kingsbury in 4th and 5th. As a matter of fact, Bell has managed to get around Kingsbury, and now Dumoulin is going to as well. The 1 of JP Bergeron is in that battle too, so this could go anybody's way as we have a change at the top. The 39 of Alex Gannett has managed to get around Andrew Ranger.
Yeah, the 39 car of Alex Gannett looking really sporty right now. That car's stable. It's not bouncing around too much, and he looks to have a lot of speed.
Off the final corner, onto the front straightaway. Watch them sing it into turn number 1. The nose dips on the 39 as Gannett gets onto the brakes. And now you start to see the back end of these race cars sliding through these corners.
Yeah, and one to watch out for right now is that 59 of Gary Clute. He's been quiet all day long. He's kind of sitting in the back of the top 10 right now. But I'd have to imagine that John Fletcher had called some strategy at the start of the race here, and he'll look to make up some spots now.
This is a Gary Clute kind of race, isn't it? It's one that sort of lurks in the weeds a little bit, and then when the time is right, he strikes. Alex Gannett chasing his grandfather, as a matter of fact. His grandfather making a late pit stop. Jacques Gannett, both drivers at a Terrebonne, Quebec, the 93 and the 39. The 39 is the leading. Jacques Gannett just ahead, similar paint schemes. As they will come through, and don't expect too much of a battle here, as Jacques Gannett will move to the outside and let the entire field come through.
The 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron still on the racing surface here, so presumably no penalty for that restart situation there, whatever you want to call that. It wasn't much of a restart. So
They might have chalked it up to the fact that he lost a number of positions, so they said, well, you kind of penalized yourself by dropping back into the field, and we'll just keep going with what we've got now with 14 to go. And a strong string of single file racing at the front of the field, but that clean air really benefiting the BetGRW number 39 of Alex Gannett. It's about a 3-car length lead over the 27 of Andrew Ranger, but progressively it's getting a little bit bigger. It's tenths of a second a lap.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine that the 39 of Alex Gannett is just going to be managing that gap. We still got a lot of racing left here. 14 laps is a long time, so you don't want to use up those tires too much. And you don't want to get chased down late in this thing. So we still got a lot of fast cars. 96 and Marc-Antoine Cam right now making his way around the 27. So the 39 is definitely going to be looking out for that and just managing his pace.
And how about the 47 of LP Dumoulin? A driver who played the strategy game, coming down pit lane, taking tires when nobody else did. He's inside the top 5, finished on the podium in Saskatoon, our last time out, and looking to keep that momentum going, and this team could really use some good finishes.
Yeah, and as you touched on there, the 47 came down earlier in the race and took 2 tires. Everyone else was only able to get 2 tires that last caution because you can only take 2 tires per stop. So now the 47 car has 4 tires that are fresher than everyone else's, and that's going to pay dividends here.
Connor Bell just ahead of him. There's Ron Tomlinson in the 48, and he's driving a very different machine this time. Again, driver of a TCR Audi, high horsepower front wheel drive, but these ones high horsepower rear wheel drive and a lot heavier. So a lot of muscle being used today from Ron Tomlinson, but he's having a very good day.
Absolutely. That's quite the adjustment, switching from something that, you're really stuck on the track to these things where you were just sliding all over the place, but he's doing a great job.
Everybody who comes from sports cars, when they drive these types of NASCAR Canada Series cars, they leave with a huge smile on their face. They're like, man, this puts it back in the hands of the driver, and that's what they love.
Especially at a track like this, too, where it is so tough to manage your tire wear and keep all 4 tires pointing in the right direction the entire race. So the 96, the 96 peels off the pit road, so maybe a late penalty here, maybe trying to argue it a little bit, but unfortunately doesn't look like he's going to win that one.
There it is. So you called it, and now the GM Paille number 96, Marc-Antoine Cameron, will have to find that pit road speed limit and adhere to it. That is going to be so important as he comes down to serve his penalty. As the curb records number 98 of Malcolm Strawn takes a quick agricultural trip, does some grass cutting here, and he'll rejoin. But he also had a tire down during that last caution period, so he fell back through the field just several laps down.
Yeah, and I noticed that 98 car, Malcolm Strawn, it wasn't looking like it was handling too well. Almost looked like it might have broken a sway bar or some really, not too happy with that car there, and, ends up in the grass.
So now with the 96 out of the mix, that promotes the 3 of young Connor Bell, a teenager coming into this race, sitting in second spot, and you know what? He is catching your race leader. That car, prepared by Jason Hathaway and crew, is on rails today.
And speaking of teams that you'd like to see have a great run, that's a team that needs it as well. So that 3 car, the Ed Hackinson Racing team, be really cool to see them end up in victory lane.
Now everybody's picked up the Matthew Kingsbury line through that turn, jumping over the concrete patch, but you mentioned it. Jason Hathaway got emotional when he stood on the podium at Saskatoon. He didn't even win that race, just because this team... Oh, and there goes Tomlinson, a spin in the 48. As he does a couple donuts, just trying to get out of the way. No caution yet, but he will tumble down the running order. And now he's overheated those General tires, and he'll have to cool them down a little bit to get that car to stick again, but we stay under green.
Yeah, that's what these General tires definitely do not like.
Well, we talked about Hathaway and how emotional he got at Saskatoon, and now watching a young driver, and they're urging him on, and Connor Bell continues to click down lap times that are better than your race leader, Alex Gannett, and look at that, JP Bergeron getting a little muscle out on the 27 of Andrew Ranger.
Yeah, it looks like the 27 of Andrew Ranger struggling a little bit. You thought when he took control of the race there off that restart, he might have enough speed to hold on to it. Maybe his car not faring too well with the 2 new tires and the 2 used tires, just impacting the handling of the car in a negative position.
Andrew Ranger, once so dominant on the road and street circuits in the NASCAR Canada Series, seems to be struggling a little bit as he gets some help from the E-Racer number 1 of JP Bergeron, and they make their way out of turn 13. There's Brent Weller in the 81. Off the pace, he's in the grass, but is he far enough off the racing surface? This, again, the battle up towards the front of the field, just ends outside the top 5, and now Bergeron passing the grass to get around Ranger.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think the 61 car, Brent Weller, was able to find a runoff area, so that might just bring out a caution late in this one.
We're going to keep an eye on that one, as is NASCAR, and So Bergeron is now up inside the top 5 as the 27 of Andrew Ranger falls back to 6. Look at the gap in the front. It is nothing. It is less than a car length now as the 3 of Connor Bell has caught Alex Gannett. You can see Weller's car was way to the inside of that corner. So is it? No, it's not. It's caution. As I was thinking maybe they'll leave it there because it's on the inside and it's not necessarily where cars will go. But yeah, just to err on the side of caution, the caution flag will wave. What this does, now the aggression level is up. Now the cars will be packed together on the track when we go back to green, and this is going to set the stage for an exciting finish.
Be interesting here to see if guys come down for the 2 tires. Other guys might decide to stay out and take the track position. Never know.
So as the field gets gathered up behind the pace truck here at Calabogie Motorsports Park, we'll take a quick break. You're watching the NASCAR Canada Series on RevTV. Welcome back to the Calabogie 150. It's race number 5 on the 2025 NASCAR Canada Series schedule. We're under caution, but once again, an opportunity for late pit stops. Let's head down with the Pinty's Pit Report and Todd Lewis.
How does the strategy play out for Marc-Antoine Cameron? They've got 2 right side tires left. They're going to put him on and let him charge as fast as he can towards the front and accumulate as many points as he can in the championship. The 27 of Andrew Ranger also making a stop for an adjustment. They'll both be finished their service. They are down and away. Ranger's going to beat his teammate out. No, he lets him go.
When you're a crew chief like Robin McCluskey, you've got a driver like Marc-Antoine Cameron. You need to give him all the tools he needs to be able to get it done, and that's exactly what they just did.
Really nothing to lose, right? I mean, he had that pit road penalty there. He was at the back of the field, had 2 tires sitting on pit road, so why not roll the dice a little bit and see if you might be able to charge to the front in the last 5 laps here.
You can see this enormous crowd edging to the front edge of their seats. 4,000 tickets pre-sold for this event. Just goes to show you the excitement here in the Ottawa Valley. And we should mention one fan in particular who's been a super fan of the NASCAR Canada Series. Matthew Hall gets to see a race in his own backyard. So it's pretty neat for him to be here in attendance and watch this field and watch this ending as we've got setting up now. It
proves that, the NASCAR Canada Series going to new venues like this is successful and it's working out. So hopefully this isn't a one-time thing. It's been a really exciting race so far, and I'm sure the drivers are going to like it and want to come back for more next year.
For sure, and you can see the track, just a picturesque facility and well-maintained, and again, the fans treated to a very entertaining race here this afternoon. And again, it was a race that had so many question marks. You didn't know how these cars would react on this track, on this surface. Would the tires last? Would it play out? Would it be very racy, or would it be single file? Boy, it's proven to be very exciting.
Exactly, and it's definitely going to get really exciting here when we have a restart, probably with around 5 to go. I'd imagine once we get going here. You got the 96 coming from the back. You got the 80 coming from the back as well. We saw him pit. Not really sure if he might not have known we were going green. So we're assuming he's got 4 tires. The 96 back there with 4, but it's been a tough track to pass that, so we'll see how much ground they can make up.
Lights off on the pace truck this time as it will head for pit lane, so we will go back to green with 6 laps to go. A pair of young lions. Alex Gannett has already visited victory lane in the NASCAR Canada Series. He did that at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. Now it's Connor Bell, the driver from Ottawa, Ontario, racing in his own backyard for the very first time in the NASCAR Canada Series. Those two enter the Pinty's restart zone as the green flag waves once again, and we're back underway.
A great restart. They're going to be even going into turn 1. Alex Gannett with the advantage on the inside, and the 3 still holding there strong.
JP Bergeron tucked a nose. He was looking to get to the inside in a battle for 3rd spot. Drivers touch the outside of the track into the dust, and one driver very much off the pace, and that appears to be the 24 Jeff Kavanaugh, another first-time driver out of the Ottawa area.
And the 3 of Connor Bell takes the lead. So this is really interesting. We see if he can drive off and keep that 39 behind him.
And again, there's that opportunity to get the jump on the outside. If you start on the outside, it seems like an advantage as Alex Gannett tries to come back hard. Down low, they'll go side by side. Now Gannett will tuck back in.
Yeah, I don't think this one's quite over just yet. That 39 car was really strong all race, and I think he's still got a really good piece here.
Look at LP Dulé right in the mix there, too. The driver out of 20 Quebec in the WeatherTech Belmar, number 47, holding down third spot. That is the final step on the podium, but he wants a little bit more as he tucks a nose in. Underneath the 39, he'll have to back out, but a great little run there, closed the gap. Gary Clute not out of it yet either. He's sitting in fourth spot.
And don't forget the 47 of LP Dumoulin. He's probably got a little bit of a tire advantage over these guys having the 4 tires as opposed to 2. So the 47's looking quick too, and he might just be waiting to see if we might have an altercation between the 39 and the 3 late in this one.
That bright blue number 3 prepared out of the EHR shop with diamond backing for Connor Bell as the 24 Kavanaugh has pulled off the track and into that runoff area. That's smart because it keeps us under green.
Yeah, it looks like NASCAR will be able to keep the green flag out through to the end of the race. He was able to make it, far enough off to the track and in a runoff area. And we're going to stay green in this one.
It looks like Gary Clute has fallen out of this one, possibly contact by the 88 of Simon Charbonneau, but Clute was in that mix, and now he's not as we take a look at where he might land in the running order, but he was running in 4th, and we thought he had the car that might be able to contend for the win, and now problems for the driver, the 59, Gary Clute. But out in front, it is Connor Bell in the 3, as you can see him working that Chevrolet Camaro, trying to hustle and stay in front of Alex Gannett. One more time into turn number 1. 4 laps to go this time around.
Yeah, and the 3's not getting away here at all, so that 39's really strong. The 47's staying in tow as well. And don't look too far back. It's the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron in 4th.
Alex Gannett has run in the Truck Series down in the U.S. Again, a veteran of the NASCAR Canada Series. Connor Bell, he's done some laps here in a NASCAR Canada Series car, but not to this level in a very first race. iRacing, he's got that experience. He's run in the Radical Series as well, but nothing prepares you for this. The butterflies you are feeling as you look out the windshield and there's nobody in front of you.
Connor Bell has been extremely impressive today, having to battle back from adversity too with the pit road penalty. He was getting roughed up a little bit by the regulars earlier in the race too. He's able to bounce back from that. He finds himself in the lead late, so it's really tough to keep yourself composed when we're in a longer race. 50 laps he had to survive through.
Look at him work his way now to complete another lap with 3 to go as he gets a little crossways off of turn number 12 and in through 13. That's an opportunity that could open up for Alex Gannett to make a run into turn number 1. He's not quite close enough to make it happen. Bell almost caught the wall down the front straightaway as he tries to make that car as wide as possible.
The 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron is looking really strong right now. He's 2.4 seconds back. That's going to be an interesting one to see if he can make this time up. Perhaps he's hoping that the 3 and the 39 get battling a little bit, slows them up, and he's able to pounce. But we'll have to see here.
Top 3 have opened up, as mentioned, a bit of a gap now to 4th, and 4th has got a huge breath behind him in 5th spot. That is the other GM Paillet entry of Andrew Ranger. So it really is a 4-car battle at the front of the field, and it is getting very, very close once again.
Yeah, the 39 of Alex Gannett here, maybe he's just sizing up his competition a little bit. Perhaps he's got some experience in these NASCAR Canada Series races. He's got that advantage over Connor Bell. Perhaps you might not want to be leading into the last corner or, coming to the last lap. Maybe he's saving to make his move late in this one.
You know that feeling. You've been in front. You've also been in second coming to the last lap, so you know how that can play out in these races as they bounce off the curves in through 12 and 13 once again. This time, Connor Bell cleanly onto the front straightaway. He will see 2 to go this time by. Just in behind, a battle for 3rd shaping up between Marc-Antoine Cameron and LP Dumoulin.
Yeah, Dave, I think that 96 car is going to get there.
He now needs the opportunity to get by. A couple of veterans, couple past champions in the NASCAR Canada Series doing battle for that final podium spot. Something that Alex Guenette will love to see out of his rearview mirror, seeing them battling side by side as Bell locks it up. He is pushing, but he can't afford many mistakes like that.
When you're in the position that Marc-Antoine Cameron is, you really don't want to spend too much time in the 47 car. This track's abrasive, as we've mentioned time over time again, so you don't want the good on those tires to go away battling for third place. You want to be up there battling for the win.
They rolled the dice, took a late opportunity for a pit stop, slapped some new General tires on that 96 car, so he has the freshest 2 tires out of any of the top 3 in front of him, but does he have enough time? There's 2 laps to go, and they will see the white flag the next time by. Young Connor Bell in the Dyson, number 3. Out of the EHR shop, hits the front straightaway. And this, now the final lap. White flag is up for the youngster from Ottawa.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the 39 of Alex Guenette's going to get there. He's mainly been better in the back half of the track, and the 3's built up quite the advantage here, where he's really fast through turns 1 to 6. So he's starting to stretch his legs a little bit, and he might have this one in the bag.
Yeah, Guenette might be in a battle for second with the 47 of LP Dumoulin in just a moment. You can see the gap growing now at the front of the field. Connor Bell will feel that pressure releasing in behind as he'll look back and see that Guenette is dropping back and concentrating on protecting that second place right now as they work through the back portion of this facility.
You got to imagine how Connor Bell's feeling right now. It's just, it's, as you mentioned, that 39 in the rearview mirror is getting a little bit smaller. It's starting to become real, and he's doing a great job.
The heartbeat, no doubt, is elevated. He's probably hearing his heart pounding in his ears as he works through the final set of corners. Connor Bell had this race circled on his calendar when his schedule was announced for 2025. Here he is, 19 years old, and now a winner in the NASCAR Canada Series.
What a performance.
A drag race for third spot as well, almost too close to call, and this fireworks coming up to the checkered flag as the leader had taken the checkered. This is JP Bergeron and the 88 of Simon Charbonneau. Big damage to both those race cars. That was a battle just inside the top 10, and look at this celebration in the Ed Hackinson Racing pit. What an emotional victory for this team. Jason Hathaway standing on top of the box as the car chief for young Connor Bell, and who better to have to mentor a young driver in the NASCAR Canada Series than a past champion in Hathaway.
Absolutely. Jason Hathaway, just loads of experience and so amazing behind the wheel of a race car. So you got to imagine that was really advantageous for Connor having Jason on the radio. But you really love to see it for this number 3 at Hackinson Racing team. As you mentioned, a really emotional victory for them, and great to see that 3 car back in victory lane.
There's what's left of the 1 of JP Bergeron. It's going to be an emotional victory lane. We'll return and bring it all to you here on Rev TV. Welcome back to the NASCAR Canada Series on Rev TV, and what a Cinderella story on so many levels here in Victory Lane. A teenager, Connor Bell, in his first start, sitting in Victory Lane for the first time. As he hops out, let's send it down to Todd Lewis.
First NASCAR Canada start, first NASCAR victory for Connor Bell, who has done so many laps on this track. The hometown advantage absolutely played out in this case for Connor Bell. So many laps on this track in different cars. So quickly up to speed, spends a lot of time iRacing, and is going to have a great celebration after what a win. I saw you just before the race and you said, hopefully I'm here in victory lane afterwards. What an accomplishment. You did it.
I'm a little lost for words right now and out of breath. Yeah, I remember telling you that before the race. I came in with a lot of confidence. The guys at EHR gave me an absolutely hooked up car. We couldn't be here without the wonderful support from local Ottawa Canadian companies, Diamond Foundation, East Rock Equipment, Pex Marina, and Nepean Building Supply. They're fantastic supporters. The Ed Hackinson guys were great, and let's celebrate a win.
Connor Bell, winner here at Calabogie Motorsports Park. First race here, his first race in the NASCAR Canada Series.
And we talked about 2 layers of a Cinderella story. The second layer, this is the first win for the EHR team since the passing of Ed Hackinson. And just you can feel the emotion in that team in victory lane.
It's a special one for sure. Ed Hackinson was one who devoted so much to the NASCAR Canada Series, so really special one for the team. You know, it's got to mean a lot, and it's got to provide some momentum for the whole team leading into the rest of the season.
Yeah, for Jamie Hackinson and Jason Hathaway, they'll be all smiles in victory lane, but no doubt they'll be thinking of Ed while they are standing there. Let's head down to your second place finisher who's standing by with Todd.
Alex, you told me you didn't get a real good lap in qualifying. You made up for it during the race. You had a lot of good laps and a really strong car today.
Yeah, our bet GRW, GLD Christette Matisation, Jazz Racing 39 was really fast. Like you mentioned in qualifying, we had our car set up for the long run, and I think we showed that. We had a lot there at the end. I feel like I was saving the whole race, but I think the 3 car bumped me pretty hard going on the last lap, and I'm pretty sure it was him, and we lost maybe 10 car lengths, and making those car lengths back. But with the way these guys run the last couple of races in the series, I feel like that's become the norm, just hitting the guy as hard as you can. I feel like me and Tag had a great battle. Me and Ranger had a great battle. I feel like it's possible to have good battles in the NASCAR Canada Series. We got awesome talent, but with the precedent, these guys are sending just every race, dooring each other and hitting each other on the last lap. I think his name's Christopher. I don't hate him for that. I mean, from what we see, it's part of the game now. So, yeah, couldn't close the gap, but our car was awesome. We're only making run in half the season this year, and I feel like so far we've been showing what we could do here.
Another great showing, Alex. Well done.
Thank you very much.
And another solid run once again here today. He stood on the podium in Saskatoon. He's back on the podium here today. Let's head down once again. Standing by with your third place finisher is Todd Lewis.
LP, I know you were disappointed in qualifying, but you made up for it in the race. A really strong run by this 47 team.
Yeah, that WeatherTech 47 WeatherTech Omnifab Benmar car was fast. I mean, we think we had a run for those 2 guys if we were not going yellow for the last 6 laps, I think. So unfortunately, it kind of broke our rhythm we had there, and then I think we really had something for those guys. But happy, my team did a great job in pit lane, and strategy was great. So we're getting closer to win. Just can't wait to get it going here. So, but it's good for the championship as well. Heading to Chaudière and Three River, my home place. So should be a lot of fun. But yeah, thanks to the fans. It was amazing. And yeah, let's keep digging here.
LP Dumoulin on the podium once again.
And so an entertaining finish here, and what this is going to do to the points championship. Lacroix having his problems. Cameron coming home inside the top 5. That's going to solidify the 96 at the top.
Yeah, it's going to give Cameron a little bit of a cushion heading into Chaudière, where he does have a win in the past. And then obviously GP3R, where Cameron's the winningest driver ever. So it's definitely a good cushion for him. He's going into 2 tracks where he's got a lot of confidence at, and looking to pick up some more victories.
String of road courses coming in after Autodrome Chaudière. It's that makeup race from earlier in the season. Unfortunately, Mother Nature pushed it down the schedule, so Chaudière will be the next one on the schedule. Then it's the GP3R, then it's ICAR, and then it's back to CTMP. So a lot of road course racing for these drivers.
Yeah, and it's grueling. It's a grueling part of the schedule for these guys. Maybe had a little bit of breaks in between the first couple races or the first few races. But now it's game time, and these guys are going to have to be on their game.
And it looked like several drivers of notable names were on their game today. Some of them racing part-time, like Alex Gannett and Connor Bell, standing on the podium here today. But NASCAR Canada Series made their very first start in the Ottawa Valley, and all signs point to it being a great success.
Absolutely. Calabogie Motorsports Park was definitely an amazing race to watch. A lot of strategy involved in it. really cool to see the tire strategy come into play. These guys had to save some tires, and everyone was employing a different strategy. And at the end, it really came to play off. The 3-car was on top. His team played the right strategy, had a fast driver. He stayed in the game all day long and was able to get the victory.
And what a story for young Connor Bell. 19 years old, finds himself in victory lane here at Calabogie Motorsport Park. A big congratulations to him and the entire EHR team. For Todd Lewis and Trayton Lapsevich, I'm Dave Bradley. Thanks very much for joining us. Our next race will be the Bud 250 at Autodrome Chaudière. Join us once again on Rev TV.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.